I had made a promise that I would change high schools right alongside my childhood friend, Mia, who was going through a really tough time with bullies. We were all set to make the change official, but then, just one day before we were supposed to sign the papers, she suddenly changed her mind. Her best friend was teasing her about it. "Wow, Mia, you actually did it," she said, "pretending to be bullied all this time just to get Liam to leave. But he's been your friend since you were kids. Are you really okay with sending him off to a new school completely by himself?" Mia's voice was completely flat, without any emotion. "It's just a different school in the same city. It's not like it's that far. And anyway, I was getting really tired of him always hanging around me. This works out perfectly." I stood frozen outside that door for a good long while that day, just listening, before I finally managed to make myself turn around and walk away. But later, when I was filling out my own transfer application, I crossed out Crestwood High and wrote in the name of the overseas prep school, St. Jude's Academy, that my parents had been wanting me to go to for ages. It seemed like everyone, including Mia, had forgotten that she and I were from completely different worlds. The second I heard the truth, my heart started beating fast in my chest. For the past month, it seemed like Mia was being targeted by everyone. Groups of people would jump her, she was getting framed for things she didn't do, and the list of problems just kept growing. I did everything I possibly could to try and protect her, but I couldn't be with her every single second of the day. When I finally felt like I couldn't watch it happen anymore, I suggested that we should transfer to a new school together. When I brought it up, she had just had a bucket of ice water dumped on her. Her face, which was usually so pretty, looked pale and miserable. She reached out and grabbed my hand, looking completely helpless. "Liam," she said, "I'm scared to go to a new place all by myself." Mia and I had been childhood friends. We had walked to school together and back home again every day since kindergarten, a routine we hadn't broken in more than 10 years. On top of all that, I was secretly in love with her. So, in that moment of weakness, I made her a promise. "Don't be scared," I told her. "Wherever you decide to go, I'll go with you." But now, standing outside this door, I knew the truth. It had all been one big, complicated act just to make me leave. I couldn't stop myself from wondering, did Mia really hate me that much? The voices inside the private room kept talking. "Liam is completely devoted to you, Mia. Aren't you worried that he'll meet someone else and fall for them if you send him to another school?" "Him?" Mia scoffed, as if that was the most ridiculous thing she had ever heard. "He would step in front of a group of guys for me. He wouldn't even back down when he was getting beaten up. So badly he was black and blue. You really think he's going to suddenly have a change of heart?" Someone else spoke up, sounding a little unsure. "But what if? Liam doesn't seem like the kind of person who just lets things happen." Mia's tone was lazy and bored. "There is no what if. Crestwood High is full of rich girls. Have you ever once seen him pay any attention to them?" Her voice was filled with contempt. "All he ever does is follow me around like a little lost dog. Even a puppy isn't that attached." A sudden burst of loud laughter came from inside the room, and each laugh felt like it was slapping me across the face. I wanted to leave, to just walk away, but my feet felt like they were glued to the floor, forcing me to stay and listen, forcing me to feel all the pain. Someone else marveled, "I've never seen a girl push away a guy who's so into her like this. I have to give it to you. But if you don't like Liam being so clingy, why not just tell him to his face? He doesn't seem like the type of guy who would make a big scene." Mia clicked her tongue, clearly losing her patience. "Liam's just too intense. If I told him straight up that I didn't want him around, it wouldn't be this easy to get him to leave." Her voice changed then, becoming a little softer. "Besides, Leo gets all insecure and sad whenever he sees Liam hanging around me. He only feels better when I'm there. For Leo's sake, this was the only way to do it. Liam will just have to be unhappy for a little while." As soon as she said the name Leo, everyone in the room seemed to understand. Thinking back, Mia had started her act of being bullied just 1 week after Leo transferred to our school, Westwood Prep. Someone laughed. "You work fast, girl. That gentle, cute new kid transfers in, and you've already got your sights set on him? I get it, though. Leo is so handsome and thoughtful, and he has such a sweet personality. It's only natural for a girl to be drawn to someone like him. Not like Liam. He's so cold all the time, not to mention that icy look he always has on his face that just pushes everyone away. It doesn't matter how good-looking he is." The casual criticisms about me kept coming from inside the room, washing over me in waves. And Mia, the girl I had quietly been in love with for years, didn't stop them. She didn't argue or defend me. In fact, she even agreed with them every now and then. Standing outside that door, I felt my heart just sink into a dark, empty place, and it ached with a dull, heavy pain that made it hard to breathe. For a second, I wanted to throw the door open and scream at her. I wanted to ask her why she had lied to me. I wanted to ask her if she felt even a tiny bit guilty or sorry while she watched me get beat up trying to protect her. I wanted to ask her if she ever once thought about our friendship, which had lasted for over 10 years, while she was planning all of this. But in the end, my mother's words came back to me. "Don't make things more complicated than they need to be. People don't just become bad all of a sudden." I turned around and walked away from that room. The sharp, piercing pain of it all was a delayed reaction. I shouldn't have been this upset. It was just a friend betraying me. It wasn't a big deal. But Mia was the one who had decided to cross that line in the first place. The day we had both decided to transfer, she had dragged me to a bar to celebrate what she called our escape. The lights in the bar were dim and hazy, swirling all around us. I looked at the girl I had been in love with for so many years and felt a little bit dizzy. So when she leaned in and kissed me, I didn't pull away. All the feelings I had kept bottled up for years suddenly erupted all at once. I was so overwhelmed that I couldn't stop myself from asking, "Mia, what are we now?" She gave my forehead another light kiss, as if she was very fond of me. "Silly," she said. "What else would we be?" Cheers erupted in the room around us, and the atmosphere felt electric, just like the passion I was feeling. I never imagined that just 2 days later, I would be standing here, listening to Mia herself shatter the one-sided dream I had been living in. I managed to force a smile, but I couldn't stop my eyes from turning red. So that vague, non-answer she had given me, that was just another lie, wasn't it? It was just a way to get rid of me faster, all for Leo's sake. The wind chimes in my bedroom tinkled slowly as the breeze blew through the open window, as if they were trying to dry my tears. My broken heart slowly began to piece itself back together. Mia had it all wrong. She was just the Doyles' illegitimate daughter. I was the sole heir of the Kane family. We really shouldn't have been so close in the first place because we were never going to be a match. I clenched my fist, crumpling the transfer application in my hand. The ink from the pen smeared, staining the paper, but it didn't matter. This one was ruined anyway. I would just get a clean one. The Kanes always have a backup plan. I printed out a new form, but when I got to the line where I had to write the destination school, I picked up my phone and called my mother. "Mom, you mentioned before that you wanted me to study abroad. What was the name of that high school again?" "That's right. And I'll be going alone." The wind chimes in my room chimed again, a crisp, pleasant sound, as if they were celebrating for me. I closed my eyes, and this time it wasn't Mia's face I saw. It was a different woman, one who looked a little bit like Mia, but was far more stunning. She was smiling at me, her expression just as confident and serious as it was 2 years ago when she told me, "Liam Kane, sooner or later, you're going to give up on Mia and choose me." Back then, I thought she was just joking. Now, I repeated her words to myself in my head. Mia, I'm really done with you. After filling out the new application, I let out a long breath. Sense of calm finally settled over me. Just then, there was a knock on my bedroom door. I froze. I've always lived in this house by myself. The only other person who knows the code to get in would be. I opened the door, and sure enough, there was Mia. Her voice was as gentle as it always was. Liam, you haven't been around. I got worried, so my friends and I came to check on you. I tried to keep my own voice steady. My stomach's been bothering me. I'm not really up for hanging out. I was just about to ask them to leave when I caught a glimpse of an unexpected person out of the corner of my eye. Leo stood there, rail thin, right next to Mia. He flinched the moment our eyes met. Mia, who always seemed to be watching his every move, immediately shielded him behind her. Liam, you're scaring him, she said. There it was again. Leo always acted so fragile, like he was afraid I was going to hurt him, which always made me look like some kind of monster. But I hadn't even done anything. My expression hardened. I've told you before, Mia, I don't like other people in my house. Mia frowned, looking annoyed. Leo's not an outsider. Besides, he only came because he was worried about you. Before I could argue with her, Leo spoke up. Liam, I'm sorry. I know you've always looked down on me, but I just wanted to see if you were okay. His voice trembled as he added, I promise I won't make a mess. Hearing that, Mia's brow furrowed, and she shot me a look of disapproval. Liam, Leo may not have money, but he's not as pathetic as you seem to think. The way you're treating him, I'm really disappointed in you. Leo cautiously tugged on Mia's sleeve, playing the part of the bigger person. Mia, it's fine. Really, please don't fight with Liam because of me. He sniffled, forcing a smile that was both hurt and defiant. After all, Liam said you two are childhood friends. How could I ever compare to that? What are you talking about? Mia said, putting a comforting hand on Leo's shoulder, her voice soft and soothing. You're one of a kind. Then she turned back to me, her face like ice. Leo's not feeling well. I'm going to take him home. You should take a good long look at yourself. And don't forget to get that transfer form stamped. I did take a good long look at myself, and at my terrible judgment. Then I walked over to the front gate and changed the security code. The knot of anger in my chest finally loosened, just for a moment. The next day, I took the new application to school to get it stamped. As I watched the bright red seal, which marked my departure, get pressed firmly onto the paper, my heart felt strangely empty for a second. I stood there for a moment, stunned, until someone blocked my path. Mia was frowning. Liam, did you change the code to your gate? I came back to find you right after I took Leo home yesterday, but I couldn't get the gate to open. I cut her off. Yeah, I changed it. She seemed annoyed, asking casually as if nothing had happened. What's the new code, so I can get in? Don't worry about it, I said calmly. I won't be living there after I transfer. Mia looked at the folded application in my hand, as if she was just remembering. Oh, I totally forgot about that. Don't worry, Liam. I'll come get mine stamped tomorrow. Walking and talking with Mia like this had become a rare occasion ever since Leo had shown up at Westwood. I closed my eyes, indulging in one final moment of reluctance, and tested the waters. Between us? You know you can always count on me. Mia was silent for a long time, before she suddenly said, Liam, actually Just then, Leo appeared behind her, holding a stack of notebooks. He complained playfully, Mia, I thought you were going to help me study. Where'd you disappear to? He handed the notebooks to her. I saw the tutoring schedule you made for me goes 2 months out, so I got all the materials ready. He winked. You don't mind that I took a peek, do you, Mia? Of course not. Mia's smile was a little strained. She glanced at me, a look of guilt on her face. When she saw that I had no reaction, she actually looked a little disappointed. So, while you were pushing me away, you were already planning a future with someone else. A future that never included me. I struggled to keep a straight face, but a bitter taste, rich and dark like wine, spread through my mouth. I dug my nails into my palm, forcing myself back to reality. I'll let you two talk. I'm heading out. Leo acted as if he had just noticed me, jumping back in exaggerated surprise. Liam, are you upset that I'm studying with Mia? It's just, I come from a poor family. I don't have the same resources you do. As he spoke, he started to choke up again. I had no interest in playing along with his act. Move, I said coldly. The flicker of guilt in Mia's eyes vanished. She grabbed my wrist, her voice laced with anger. Liam, what kind of tone is that? She dragged me in front of Leo and yelled, Apologize to him! The last peaceful corner of my heart crumbled into dust. This time I didn't hesitate. I raised my hand and slapped Mia hard across the face. Mia, you're the one who should be apologizing, not to him, to me. I went through all the things Mia had given me over the past decade, one by one. This watch was her gift for my 18th birthday. Not long after, I wore it to school once, and I saw an identical one on Leo's wrist. He had said shyly, Mia said that whatever other people have, I'll have too. Only the box was left for the limited edition model. Mia had taken the model itself, saying she liked how it looked on my shelf. The next day, I saw it on Leo's desk. And the limited edition sneakers from my coming-of-age ceremony, the sandalwood diffuser. All the things I thought were special, just for me, Mia had been giving out to others just as freely. Actually, it wasn't equal at all. I thought about how she doted on Leo, how she defended him no matter what. A sarcastic smile touched my lips. If that was the case, then there was no reason to keep any of this. I booked a flight for the next day, planning to spend one last quiet night. But at 2 a.m, a phone call woke me up. I groggily answered it, but the line was silent. Just as I was about to hang up, I heard Mia's voice. Liam, I'm sorry. My mind instantly cleared. If she was finally going to tell me the truth. Mia's voice was heavy. Leo tried to kill himself. I can't leave him alone right now, so I'll get to the transfer application in a bit. The hope that had soared in my chest crashed to the ground, pathetic and ridiculous. I suddenly wanted to ask her, then what about all the suffering I went through because of your fake bullying scheme? Mia continued, You need to apologize. I thought I'd misheard. What did you say? Her voice was firm. Liam, you really need to apologize to Leo. Can you honestly say his suicide attempt has nothing to do with you? I was suddenly speechless, because I finally understood that as long as Leo was in the picture, every word I said would be wrong. Mia spoke again, her voice like ice. Liam, you're such a disappointment. If you apologize, I can pretend none of this ever happened. I'll join you at the new school in 2 months. Are you really going to be this stubborn? Are you going to throw away all our years of friendship? I heard the threat in her words. But this time I felt no resentment, no sadness, just annoyance. I hung up, blocked her number, and deleted her contact. I couldn't wait for my flight tomorrow. The scenery in the new country felt fresh and exciting. Someone took my suitcase. I looked up and met the eyes of the daughter of the Tran family. Liam Kane, long time no see. I reached out my hand, smiling. Long time no see, Sophie Tran. My phone rang, interrupting our reunion. I swiped to answer and saw it was Mia's best friend's number. Confused, I answered. Mia's voice came through, laced with anxiety. "Liam, which class are you in at Crestwood? Why does everyone in every class say they've never seen you?" Before I could answer, Sophie's voice cut in. "Liam, should I take you to see your new school?" She looked completely innocent, as if she were just being helpful. Mia's voice shot up an octave. "Liam, are you with Sophie Tran? Where are you?" I held the phone away from my ear. For the first time, Mia's voice sounded grating. "What does it matter to you where I am?" Mia seemed to ignore my question, her voice filled with disbelief. "You ran off to find Sophie Tran just to spite me? You'd even stoop to hanging out with that kind of person just to make me mad?" As her words got uglier, I couldn't take it anymore. "Shut up!" I took a deep breath and said, my voice sharp and final, "Mia, you're the most pathetic one of all." Finally, I'd thrown her own words back at her. "Don't call me again. Whatever was between us, it's over now." I quickly hung up and blocked that number too. The world was quiet again. I turned to Sophie apologetically. "Sorry you had to hear that." Sophie just smiled. "Then you can buy me dinner." She winked at me. "Consider it a thank you gift." I breathed a sigh of relief and returned a polite smile. "Of course." The heiresses of the Doyle and Tran families were truly night and day. Years ago, Mia's mother had an affair and became the new Mrs. Doyle after Mia was born. In response, Sophie's mother, Mrs. Tran, acted decisively in the business world. She swiftly divorced her cheating husband, took most of the family fortune with her, and successfully left with Sophie, who was already showing great promise at a young age. After that, Sophie settled abroad. My mother always spoke of them with immense admiration, saying that the Doyle family business had gone downhill ever since Mrs. Tran left. The prestigious Miss Doyle title that Mia was so proud of was nothing but an empty shell. Whenever my mom brought it up, she would sigh and say, "But our Liam is too soft-hearted. Of all people, he had to fall for Mia." At the time, I felt that Mia couldn't choose her background, and I only felt sympathy for her. I was just grateful my mother respected my choice. Only now did I realize that on some things, our parents really do see the bigger picture. The sea breeze brushed against my face, scattering my thoughts. I shook my head and looked at the road ahead, raising an eyebrow. "This doesn't look like the way to a restaurant." Sophie smiled. "I'm under direct orders from your mother. You'll have to forgive me, Liam." I chuckled and turned to watch the sunset blanket the wide avenue. The car, as expected, pulled up in front of a discreetly luxurious villa. Enrolling in a new school was really just a formality. Sophie and I had both been raised as heirs, and before long, we started receiving invitations to business events. Wearing a suit my mom had picked out, a violet pocket square folded neatly in my pocket, I mingled with a champagne flute in hand until I saw Sophie. The young woman was dressed in a stunning purple couture gown that was both elegant and perfectly suited to her calm demeanor. The people around her took the hint and drifted away. I sighed helplessly. Neither of us can complain. We're both stuck in this world. That dinner, it turned out, was turned into an engagement party for me and Sophie by our mother's clever remarks. We were adults. We weren't that naive. Sophie and I had a silent understanding that it was just our moms joking around. We had, however, underestimated their determination to unite our families. If I received a limited edition watch from my mom, a few days later, Sophie would receive the women's version of the same series from hers. Or Sophie would get a pair of earrings from her mom. And when I was in a negotiation, my mom would hand me a matching pair of cufflinks. I was almost used to it. But this time, Sophie looked me straight in the eye and said, word by word. What if I said that this time I'm all for it? She took a step closer, her voice clear and smooth, like a spring running over stones, leaving a trail of mist in my heart. Or rather, every time. Golden fireworks shot into the sky from the cruise ship. Looking into her bright, determined eyes, I think my heart skipped a beat. From then on, my relationship with Sophie just felt right. After our engagement, my family arranged for me to do an internship at our company back home. My mom was already planning our future. You two can manage things on the inside, while your mom and I handle the outside. My dad quietly asked me to make sure Mrs. Tran didn't steal my mom away. With all these hopes, I boarded the plane home, unable to hold back a smile. As she saw me off, Sophie took one of the bells from her wind chime and placed it in my palm. She had always been so poised and reserved around me, but even she couldn't resist letting the chime tell me she would miss me. After being away for months, Class 3A at Westwood Prep felt like a distant memory. When my friend Ben sent me the graduation photo, the one I wasn't in, it felt like a lifetime ago. In the picture, Mia and Leo were standing side by side. They actually looked good together. My eyes scanned over their smiling faces, and I felt none of the old flutter in my heart. Ben was annoyed. "We were so sad when you left, but now I think it was for the best. You have no idea. Leo used Mia's protection to act like a total drama queen in class all the time. After you left, he started spreading all kinds of rumors about you. The rest of us couldn't even keep up with the damage control. And that Mia, it's like she's blind. She defended him at every turn. I mean, I get that other people don't know the whole story, but you two were friends for over a decade. How could she help him like that?" I sighed and typed back. I'm sure in her mind, I'm the bad guy. I frowned slightly. I remember Leo not being so bold before. Ben, as if finally getting a chance to vent, sent over 5 or 6 photos. "Here, see for yourself." They were all screenshots of Leo's social media posts. The first one, "Thanks to you, my coming-of-age ceremony wasn't as miserable as a normal person's." 2 photos were attached. One was of Mia intently fixing his bow tie. The other looked like a group photo with classmates, but in the corner you could accidentally see me, drenched in sweat. I thought back. Oh, right. I was in charge of hosting that event for the student council. I had to give it to him. He went to a lot of trouble to capture me at my worst. The second one, she asked me to forgive her for being powerless. Next time, she said, she'll get me a new model. My girl, I'll never blame you for what arrogant people do. The photo was of a familiar, limited edition model, the kind without the exclusive packaging. The third one, her restraint is always her best quality. My goddess, after the finals are over, don't let this diffuser be the only thing that helps me sleep. The picture showed a corner of a sandalwood diffuser. I skimmed through them, annoyed until I reached the last one. My finger froze. The caption read, "She said we can finally be like a real family." The picture was of Mia, gently holding a little boy who looked to be about 3 or 4. Leo stood beside her, his arm wrapped intimately around her shoulder, smiling blissfully. A message from Ben came through. He was always subtly putting you down on his feed, painting you as the other guy, and making it seem like he and Mia were a thing all along. Joke's on him, though. You didn't even care. Ha 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 ha. I smiled. It wasn't exactly a lie. Mia just wanted to enjoy the affection from both me and Leo at the same time. After graduation, he made it official. I heard the kid is his son with his ex-girlfriend, Sarah. He's using the kid to keep Mia on a tight leash now. I was shocked. He's playing for keeps, huh? Ben's tone was indignant. Yeah, everyone knows about it now. With this stepmom-in-training status, Leo's gotten really arrogant. But seriously, using a kid to trap someone is so low. I bet Mia regrets it like hell. "Thanks for setting the record straight for me," I typed back. "Don't worry. If anything like this happens again, I'll just get my lawyers involved." We chatted for a bit longer. Ben's last message was, "Good to know you're really over it. Mia wasn't worth it." I paused, then typed, "Yeah." It was true. I felt nothing at all. Mia, the girl I had once loved so sincerely, was now just a topic of idle gossip. Time really does heal all wounds. The company headquarters was in my hometown, so I drove directly to my house to pick up some files. My mom had bought a small villa with a garden to make sure I was comfortable. I pushed open the gate, but I froze when I went to enter the security code. There was someone sitting in the entryway. She turned her head, and I was met with a pair of bloodshot eyes. I frowned. "Mia? How did you get in here?" Then I noticed her scraped knees. My frown deepened. "Did you climb the gate to get into my yard? What do you want?" The silent figure just stared at me. "Liam, you've lost weight," she said abruptly. I had no idea what she was trying to accomplish with this bizarre small talk. I turned to leave, but she suddenly lunged forward and hugged me, so tightly it felt like she was trying to snap my arm. Luckily, the self-defense training I had wasn't just for show. I twisted away from her and wiped my arm, disgusted. "Mia, have some self-respect." She let out a low laugh. "You're telling me to have self-respect? Liam Kane, you and Sophie Tran did God knows what while you were abroad. What right do you have to tell me to have self-respect?" She sounded like she was at her breaking point, her voice rising to a near scream. "How could you do this to me? I've been going crazy looking for you." I slapped her, not holding back in the slightest. "Watch your mouth." Seeing her refuse to give up, I thought for a moment and said calmly, "Isn't my going abroad what you wanted all along? Faking being bullied, letting me take the blame and get beat up for you. What, are you unhappy now that you got what you wanted?" The color drained from Mia's face instantly. Her eyes widened, her pale lips trembling. You knew? Liam, I can explain. I shrugged. "But I'm not interested." I took a step closer, a cruel satisfaction washing over me as I glanced at Leo, who had suddenly appeared outside the gate. I spoke quietly, but loud enough for both of them to hear. "You've already posted a family photo with another man's child. What gives you the right to keep harassing me? Mia, you're truly pathetic." I turned and walked into the house, calling the security guard who lived nearby to have them removed. As I passed the window, I heard a furious shout. "You bitch! You've completely humiliated me!" The sharp sound of a slap was audible even through the thick, soundproof glass. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Leo covering his face, his voice choked with sobs. I closed the curtains and sent Sophie my daily text. "Busy. Miss you." I saw Mia again, at the welcome home party Ben threw for me. We were all adults now, and the conversation in our circle had shifted to family businesses and investments. The soft lighting and sweet wine made for a comfortable atmosphere. I couldn't help but stay a little longer than planned, but then an uninvited guest arrived. The room fell into a strange silence for a moment. Ben tugged on my sleeve and whispered, "Liam, no one invited her." I nodded. I figured as much. Ben sighed in relief, his tone dripping with contempt. "Those two are basically the pests of our social circle now. Their family's fallen from grace, and their personalities are trash, especially Leo. He looks at Mia like she's a cash cow and is suspicious of any guy who even looks her way." I glanced over. Sure enough, Leo was trailing behind Mia. When he saw me looking, Leo instinctively flinched, then shot me a fierce glare. Mia seemed completely oblivious and walked straight to the seat across from me. As others tried to liven up the mood, I got up and headed to the restroom for some peace and quiet. A moment later, someone appeared behind me. Leo hadn't changed at all. He still had that gentle, handsome look, a slightly melancholic expression, and a clean white shirt. A year had passed, but his mindset was still stuck in high school. He didn't seem to realize that in this world, no one cares about a damsel in distress. Profit is all that matters. He was outdated, useless. His emotional currency had been surpassed by material value, so he was discarded. It was that simple. Ethan's eyes were filled with jealousy. He looked like he wanted to tear me to shreds. Liam Kane, you must be so proud, watching Mia be so devoted to you. I looked at him silently in the mirror, momentarily speechless. If shedding a few tears and saying a few sweet nothings counted as devotion, then Leo's idea of love was pretty twisted. A series of emotions flickered across Leo's face, and he suddenly looked triumphant. But I bet you didn't know this. The reason you transferred high schools was because Mia set the whole thing up. She was afraid I'd get upset seeing you. She was never even being bullied, but you took a beating for her. Ha 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 ha. I remained calm, because honestly, it didn't matter anymore. That's right. It didn't matter. Both Mia and Leo would only drift further and further from my life. And I was confident that I would leave them far behind for good. Leo stared at me, his eyes wide with fury. What's with that reaction? Why aren't you angry? What gives you the right to be so arrogant? What right do you have? Just because you were born rich? What else do you have that I don't? You're just a loser who can't even hold on to a woman. He grew more and more agitated, raising his arm to hit me, but someone grabbed it mid-swing and threw him aside. Sophie stood in front of me, looking down at Leo on the floor. Regarding your slander and attempted assault of my fiancé, I have recorded the incident and reported it to the police. You can share your side of the story down at the station. I looked at the tall figure in front of me and couldn't help but smile. She had clearly dressed up to see me, her accessories and clothes perfectly coordinated with mine. It was childish and kind of adorable. The arrival of the police car was not subtle. Ben, wondering why I was gone so long, came out to see what the commotion was about, just in time to see Leo being shoved into the back of a police car. He struggled wildly, screaming, "Who do you think you are? My girlfriend is Mia Doyle, the future heir of the Doyle family. Let me go. I need to find my girlfriend." Everyone instinctively looked at Mia, but as she watched the man she had once protected so fiercely get arrested, her expression was numb. She didn't make a sound. She didn't try to stop it. She knew how to save her own skin. I watched silently for a moment. And with that, the girl from my youth shattered into pieces. It was late by the time we finished giving our statements at the police station, so I just took Sophie back to my place. When I opened my eyes the next morning, breakfast was already on the table. I leaned against the doorframe, watching her diligently washing the dishes. So domestic. Well, I don't have a ring on my finger yet. I have to be on my best behavior to make a good impression on my man. Otherwise, what if he gets mad and dumps me? Sophie teased, tapping my nose. I sighed, thinking about the undisguised gossipy looks my friends were giving Sophie last night. I scrolled through my phone for a bit, and my eyes landed on a news headline. I laughed. You want a title? Well, here it is. The trending news headlines were in bold caps. Kane-heir wrecks relationship. Kane-heir's wild. Night with mystery woman. The two headlines were right next to each other. A neat, coordinated attack. It was a vicious attempt to ruin me. But Leo probably didn't know that private villas usually have security cameras. Before the narrative could take hold, a video started circulating widely. In the video, the Doyle heiress could be clearly seen clinging to me and lunging at me after I tried to push her away and leave. The public opinion of the Kanes shifted dramatically, but there were still plenty of doubters. So what about the wild night? You became a top executive at Kane Industries at such a young age. Who knows which big shot you were hosting? Sophie acted as if registering a new social media account was a matter of life and death. I watched her scramble, amused. There's no rush. In the midst of her frantic typing, she looked up and kissed my forehead. You don't deserve to be slandered by anyone. Ding, a new notification. You have been followed by Ava Lynn. I glanced down. Whoa, it was a verified official account. Immediately after, the Sophie Tran account posted, "Hello everyone. On behalf of Tran Industries, I'd like to thank my future husband, @Liam Kane, for his hospitality last night." The entire internet went silent for a second, and then it exploded. Sophie looked up at me, her face a mask of innocence once again. I sighed and leaned in to kiss her. The merger between Kane Industries and Tran Industries moved forward steadily. 3 years later, Sophie and I got married. We chose a rustic little town in another country for the wedding. Every house there was adorned with colorful wind chimes. When the breeze blew, a crisp, tinkling sound would fill the air, like a chorus of sincere blessings. Toward the end of the reception, I received a gift. There was no name on it, but everyone recognized the Doyle family seal. After Sophie officially took over Tran Industries, she had launched an all-out, high-intensity campaign against the Doyle Corporation. If the Doyle business was a crumbling tower after her father left, then after Sophie was done with it, it was nothing more than a pile of rubble. Sophie would never forgive the family that had betrayed her mother. I didn't hesitate to back her up. In fact, I took it even further. The Doyle name had long since disappeared from our circles, because I would never forgive the people who had betrayed me either. So, to receive a wedding gift from Mia under these circumstances was quite surprising. When I opened the box, I found a valuable limited edition watch. A forgotten memory from when I was 18 suddenly came rushing back. It wasn't perfectly clear. It was after a practice exam, and I was helping Mia analyze her mistakes. 18-year-old me had eyes only for her. I was explaining the problems while dreaming of a future that revolved around her. But I wasn't the only one who was distracted. Mia was staring at me, and the sincerity in her eyes back then didn't seem fake. "Liam, what kind of watch do you like?" The topic made both of us blush. Her voice was just as soft. "Okay, I'll remember that." The cicadas buzzed in the summer air. In that moment, I thought of forever. Her company is in that state, and she's still sending watches like this? That must have cost her everything she has left. It was rare for Sophie to be so cutting. I looked at her, so obviously jealous, and couldn't help but laugh. "Donate it for me." I tossed the watch to her casually, because when I was 16, a purple wind chime had come into my life long before any watch. Back then, an even younger Sophie hadn't cared about my family's status. She was just visiting the country to help her mother with some business, and happened to see the boy next door when she returned to the Tran estate. She happened to overhear the boy's mother say to him, "Our Liam's favorite color is purple? That's wonderful. Purple is so elegant. It's my favorite color, too." On a whim, Sophie stayed 2 extra days and had a purple wind chime sent over from abroad. In those 2 days, she witnessed the illegitimate daughter next door intentionally scrape her own arm and run to the boy for sympathy. She also witnessed the boy's growing pity and care for his sister. A seed of jealousy began to sprout in Sophie's heart. The day she left, she boldly knocked on the boy's door and gave him the wind chime. She couldn't even stop herself from saying something incredibly forward. 16-year-old Liam just stood there, not angry. He just said softly, "Have a safe trip." And from then on, his life was one of simple joy, a life with no regrets.